Hey guys, does everybody have a copy of the minutes from last year along with the budget and the other things? If anybody does not have one and you'd like one, raise your hand. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. All right, well, man, I feel, seems loud. Is it always this loud? It's echoing, okay. All right, well, I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for hanging around. This is one of the things that we, as a church family, as an organization, need to do. And I think it's good for us to also just kind of share about the things that are going on that have been happening in the church and cast a little vision for what we believe God is planning for us. And so, we've all experienced meetings like this that were less than pleasant. And I thank God we've never had anything like that. And so I'd like to start with prayer, and then we'll jump into the business of the day. So let's pray together. Father, God, we love you, Lord, and thank you for our church family. God, thank you for the body that you've created here at Christ Community Church. God, I thank you for the way that you allow us to serve together, to serve our community, and ultimately, God, to serve you. Father, I pray for our meeting here today. God, I pray that in all things that are said and done, Father, we would glorify Christ. And so, Lord, we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so this is a business meeting. Does everybody have a copy of the stuff? We need to enter into business right now, and so I would entertain a motion that we move into a business session right now. Brother Jim, I think you did that last year. Brother Jim, he's trying to be the one. All right, Brother Jim made that motion. Would somebody second that? Bam Bam seconds that. All in favor? Well, amen. That means y'all didn't just hang around for the delicious sandwich, huh? All right, so we move into our business. The first thing we need to do is to accept the minutes from our last meeting. All right, and so you see there the minutes from the January 30th, 2022 meeting, and so That, that's noted. All right, I'd entertain a motion that we accept these minutes as printed, with the exception of changing cojunity to community up there on the top. And we're going to leave Kate at 2 years old. All in favor? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Nobody made a motion. Who made that motion? Right there. David Freeman made that motion. Second? I heard somebody second it. Right back there. Debbie Johnson seconded that. All in favor now? Any opposed? The motion carries. All right. So now, those are just some business formalities that we need to deal with right up front. And so from there, we typically go into our reports from our different ministry leaders and groups and things like that. Not every ministry, not every group will be represented here today because we tried that in like our third year, and the meeting went for 3.5 hours. And everybody said, well, thanks for not doing that this year. So we moved through some. First, I'd invite Brother John Johnston is our chairman of our elders. And so I would ask Brother John to come and give us a report on the ministry of the elders.
Brother Willis, make sure that mic's on, please.
Good afternoon. The elders continue to meet and pray together and seek God's direction for the plan that He has for the church. In addition with the staff, and it's an incredible, humbling experience to have that position. But we ask each of you to just continue to pray for us as we seek God's will and direction. Please reach out to us if there's something in your life or something going on that we can help you with. We would love to, but we just can't always know what everybody's doing all the time. So reach out to us and continue to pray for us. Any questions?
All right. Oh, look at Cade. He's up, man. He's ready to go.
Ready to get this.
How old are you this year, brother?
3.
3. Brother Cade, give us a report on the youth ministry.
I am Cade McKee. I'm the youth pastor here at Christ Community Church. My beautiful wife, Tori McKee, is back there. Wave, Tori. We have a son that is now 2 years old, so obviously I'm not 2 years old. I am 26 years old. I did get hired on as a youth pastor here November 14th, so a year and 2 months now I've been the youth pastor here. Last year we took our students to Centrifuge at Mississippi College. We had lots of fun. We took about 50 students last year to Centrifuge, and I'm not real good with numbers, so I think there was about 10 of them that accepted Christ last year at Centrifuge, and our goal for this year is to double that. So if you have any students, know any students, it could be your neighbor, it can be your niece, whoever you know that's from 6th to 12th grade, please start inviting them. We have Sunday school every Sunday for boys and girls, and we have our Wednesday night that does the same time as the children's, 6 to 7:30. We would love to have them there. We're going to be going to Lake Forest Ranch this year. It's going to be a first year going as a youth group. It's going to be lots of fun. And please encourage your students. If you know any of them, whether they're your neighbor or your daughter or whoever it is, encourage them to come, because camp is where that relationship amongst students is built. Whenever I got on the bus last year, I had been the youth pastor for 2 months, and I got on the bus to go to church camp, and it was a bus full of strangers. I was a stranger to the students. The students were, some of them knew each other because they were brothers and sisters. But when they got off of that bus, when they got back a week later, it was a bus full of best friends. And that friendship has not stopped still to this day. And we have we had 35 students last Wednesday night, and on at church, and they're just on fire for each other. They have great relationships with each other, and our goal is to just continue to feed and fuel that relationship, to get them comfortable, to get them used to coming to church, to learn more about God, and then handing them off to Brother Willis, and them not, leaving as soon as they turn 18. So once again, my biggest thing to ask all of you is, if you know anyone from 6th to 12th grade, encourage them, bring them to church on Wednesday nights. There's plenty of stuff for all of you to do, and I'm going to stop now. They gave me 30 seconds. And I took that.
Right.
I took that
Take
up.
questions.
Any questions? I'm sorry. Questions. Blood David, look like you got a question. No question. Absolutely. We're always taking donations because we're doing all year long. We try to do one big thing a month for students, whether we take them to Airborne Extreme. Next month, we're taking them to see Jesus Revolution at Movie Tavern. We're always doing things. Once a month, we do a big thing, and we're always taking donations for that. The movie tickets are $10, Airborne Extreme's $15, and some students just can't, their families can't do that, especially whenever they got 6 of them, So donations are always helpful. Always bring your money to Tori, because that's just the best place to bring your money for donations. I'll just leave that there. Don't bring me cash. Don't bring me, no, I'm just kidding. You can, and I'll go straight to Tori and give it to her. Great question. Thank you for that. Any more questions?
Real quick, what are the dates on the Daddy Daughter Dance and the car show? Because those are both Sundays. One of them's Easter Sunday. It's listed here.
No, this was last year's. So April 29th is the Daddy Daughter Dance. The car show is April 1st. And we have a website. We have a QR code that you can scan. And Ashley has actually told me today that she's going to be updating all of that, putting all the dates up there, so you'll be able to scan that and see all of our dates on our website, all the updated dates. But yeah, the Daddy Daughter Dance is the 29th, and the car show is the 1st. And whoever wants to come to the Jesus, we have a whole theater rented out for the Jesus Revolution. That's February 22nd. Y'all are more than welcome to come. Bring your students. Any more questions? Thank y'all for allowing me to love on the students. And like I said, please invite your students, get them to come, and we will continue to love on them. Excited for this new year.
All right, Bam, you're up.
All right, I think most of y'all know me. I'm Bam Bam. I do want to address something real quick. This is going to be the new attire, so I will have sleeves on Sundays. Decided to go with a new look. Our report for the children's ministry is, so we took 27 kids to camp last year. We went to Camp Living Water. This year we are going to go to Tall Timbers for camp. And I don't have the date wrote down. June 12th. This is Miss Tracy. She helps me with the children's ministry more than anything. We have made some changes. We have new Sunday school classes that we've started up. Got more teachers. Got a lot more help. Thanks, Miss Shannon, for that. She's been getting us some volunteers. We're going to be doing the tea party again. Last year we had 100 participants in that. It'll be on April 22nd. We did a fishing tournament last year, had 20 people. We're doing that one again. That's going to be an annual thing, March 18th. Wednesday nights. I don't know if y'all saw the kids up here this morning. Wednesday night Kidsplosion. Totally changing up Wednesday nights, and the kids are so excited about being up here for that. And I'm loving seeing the growth. It's kind of almost like a VBS all year long. We will be doing VBS this year. This year it will be a 1 week long. No date set for that yet. And then the end of the summer, we do a Pass the Arrow banquet. Last year was our first year to do that. We'll be doing that again. That is where we promote the 5th graders up into youth. Just like Cade said, he passes them on to Willis. Well, that is where we pass the 5th graders on to Cade, make it a special time where it's just for the 5th graders. They get to know Cade, and I think it's a real special time. Any questions about the children's ministry? No questions? Who's next?
All right, Miss Tammy and Miss Kimberly with our Celebrate Recovery Ministry.
Yes. All right, we thought we would start by explaining what Celebrate Recovery is. And talking to a lot of people, and understanding a lot of people have no clue what we do on Friday nights. So living in a broken world, we all deal with life's hurts, hang-ups, and habits. No one has the ability, nor should they attempt to face their hurts on their own. So Celebrate Recovery is a beautiful community of strugglers that courageously enter the safe space and beautiful space to get honest about our pain and the negative ways we may see ourselves, God, and others. In the process, we come to accept that some of the habits we may have developed to escape our pain has caused destruction in our lives and those close to us. So we're a biblically balanced approach to bringing recovery and healing to all of our hurts. And we do this through, based on the Beatitudes in Matthew 5.
This year, we will be celebrating 10 years of Celebrate Recovery and CCC, and we are going to plan a celebration for that in the fall. So if you know of anyone who has been through the program, and even if you haven't, come and celebrate with us. And we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, but we're going to plan something big and special. Every Friday night, we average about 35 to 40 attendees. That's the adults. Almost all the people that attend large group also come to the small groups. Used to, a lot of people would just leave before small group. Now they're actually staying for small group, and it's been great. We provide coffee and snacks before we begin, and we also have a fellowship meal after the small groups.
All right, the leadership team continues to attend training online and is in contact with the national CR team for guidance. We are blessed to have a very hands-on national team that if we have something that we just aren't certain, but we want to stay within our CR guidelines, we contact them. So it's beautiful. Our leaders are Kimberly Collins, David and Tammy Freeman, Casey and Faye Shaw, Jerry Gaspard, Clint Pennelber, I wrote it down for our note taker, don't worry, Ben Eden and Thomas Tyndall. And we have several future leaders in training.
We have childcare every Friday night. Like I said, we have just 35 to 40 adults here, but we can have anywhere from 2 to 15 kids on a Friday night. We do have some teens that help us watch those kids for us, but we are praying for God to provide someone to teach the children about Jesus while they're here. Some of these kids they come with their parents and they don't come to church. So they don't get those Bible stories and the Bible verses and the songs and stuff like they would if they were here on a Sunday. So we are hoping to bring back Celebration Place in the Landing in the future. But if you don't have to have gone through Celebrate Recovery to do the Celebration Church stuff, Celebration Place stuff, we can help you get some training in that stuff. So if you or anyone you know want to help with the children on Friday nights, that would be a good help.
So last year we completed 2 women's step studies and 2 men's step studies. If you have not been through CR, it's about a 9-month process where we work through the 12 steps. We currently have 1 women's step study that's near completion. We added Life's Healing Choices this year. It's an 8 to 10 week study that covers the 8 principles. And that we hope will allow more, even just people that don't come to CR, just to come attend it. We had 2 groups of men that completed it already and 1 group of women. And we will be starting both a men and a women's Life's Healing Choices very soon, followed by step studies. And I just want to share on our testimony nights after these, we get to hear amazing changes that God has made in lives. And it's not just in those that attend Celebrate Recovery, but it trickles out to their entire families and everyone around them. It is a beautiful, I wish I could just stand here and share all of those, but I won't, Willis, don't worry, because I know we're on a time limit.
Every year we have a communion ceremony, and then we also do a nail it to the cross ceremony twice a year. If you've seen the cross out here with the papers on it, that's where we can just come up and nail our hurts, habits, and hang-ups, or anything we want to give to Jesus onto the cross. We share our victories through our testimonies. and through cardboard testimonies, along with the lessons that are required by CR. Speaking of testimonies, this coming up Friday night, the leaders will all be given 2 to 3 minute testimonies. So if you want to know about who's running Celebrate Recovery here, please come and hear these testimonies that we give. We also host several events where CR participants, their family, and anyone in the church, and just the public are invited to attend, such as the New Year's celebration that we do every year. We usually have around 100 in attendance. We've had a bonfire earlier this year already, and last year we had a family camp out at Camp Glenwood in Folsom, right there by Global Wildlife Center, twice last year, and we're planning on doing that again. We also want to host more events that we host, but everybody's invited. Some ideas that we've had is a movie night, and we've also thought about doing a game night. It seems like on New Year's Eve, everyone loved playing bingo. So we'd have a family game night where you can just come and hang out and board games, card games, bingo, whatever. So we'll be looking for that in the future. And we didn't have this on the paper, and I forgot to have them pull it up. We have a new Facebook page. Well, they did get it. It looks like that, Christ Community Church Celebrate Recovery, that you can go like and follow, and we post what we're doing every week on that page. And any events that we're going to be having, we make an event for it.
This is the last thing, I promise. This is why we type it, y'all. We could stand up here. We could share with y'all for hours about Celebrate Recovery and what it does. So we do have several areas that we could use help from the church. We are a small and mighty team of leaders, and everyone that comes serves, but we could use some help. We could use more help with some activities or crafts for the kids. So if you have a project or a craft or coloring sheets, anything, even if you can't be here, if you just want to leave something for the kids to do, that would be awesome. We could always use more help in the sound booth. We do not have a band, so all you're doing is clicking buttons, and we have a pretty good system for that. We need snacks. Usually just one of the leaders ends up buying snacks and keeps providing them. So if you ever want to leave snacks for us, just leave them in the kitchen, put CR snacks. Meals. We would love if anyone would feel like feeding about 50 people on any Friday night. Just reach out to me. We're not picky, so don't ask what we want. Just enough to feed about 50 people. And we can always use help with setup and cleanup. If you're free on a Friday and just want to come serve, we would love for you to serve. And the last, we could always use help if there is anyone that would like to just come and sit in our foyer, just to be, I want to say security, but not security, just to be some eyes that aren't working. We would love to have some help with that. I think that's it. Do we have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, ladies. All right, Melissa, come on down. You're the next one. You are up.
Okay, so I'm Melissa Cawthorn. I am the coordinator of women's ministry. I don't know how many years it's going on now. But anyway, so right now, currently the classes and stuff that we have going on, that was going on last year, but going on especially now, is, of course, every Sunday at 9:45, Miss Mary Ingalls has a class over there. I think it kind of has developed into a co-ed a little bit, but it's mostly women. And then Miss Marlene, like tonight at 5 o'clock, has her precept study. And then on Wednesday nights, we meet over there at 6 o'clock, and we're doing the Experiencing God. The blessing is that y'all, like literally, we are busting at the seams. We may have to see if we can switch rooms because we've had close to 30 women in our class on Wednesday nights. It has been a huge blessing. So last year, one of the things we did is we hopped on the Remind app train, so to kind of help get the word out to all the ladies and what's going on, so it's not just in the bulletin and Facebook. We did go to 2 conferences. We went and saw Priscilla Shire. Then we went to a Fresh Grounded Faith and saw Jennifer Rothschild. We had our normal beach retreat. We had our normal cozy Christmas. Another thing that I started, and I want to do quarterly at least, is we had a prayer brunch at my house. There were some women that just really needed some loving, and we, prayed over them, and it was a beautiful thing. I do know, for one thing, I always forget to mention, is every other Thursday, some ladies get together for lunch at Miss Mary's house and kind of have like a little craft session and fellowship time, which I got to go this past Thursday because I was in the area and could stop by, and it was a huge blessing. This year, of course, we're going to continue with the beach retreat and the cozy Christmas and all the classes I just mentioned. But I definitely want to do the prayer brunch on a quarterly basis. I think that is much, much needed. I would like to have a fall retreat since we have the spring retreat, which is basically the beach trip. I would like to implement that. We are going to Jackson, Mississippi in a few weeks to go see Jennifer Rothschild and Lisa Turkhurst at the Fresh Grounded Faith. And we wouldn't mind doing a game night. We even kind of thought about doing a game night with the youth. It is still being women, but just kind of letting that be also like a mentorship type thing to get some relationships built between the older women and our youth. I think that's about it, except for, I will say really quickly, instead of calling her up here because of time, you're welcome, and this is a plug also to where any of you women, if God has laid something on your heart that you would like to implement, honey, don't wait on me or anything like that. I mean, seriously, and that's kind of what happened with Stephanie. She kind of just felt led to possibly open up a library because she was blessed with probably 400 plus books, Christian books. And so we have a library. Now, granted, that's just not for the women. It's going to be for everyone, but we're going to have a library that's going to be opened up. But that's just an example how God may lay something on your heart, and honey, he's going to provide because he's certainly providing for that library. So anybody have any questions? Awesome.
Yeah, the library is coming along. There are no books in it yet. They're all in Stephanie's dining room. We're just waiting for the paint to dry. When the paint's dry on the shelves, the books will be stocked in there, and it'll be available to you. I'd like to ask Miss Marlene Welch if she would come and give us a report. Miss Marlene felt led to start a grief share group, and that's one of those things where if you don't need it, you don't know how important it is. But when you do, you realize what a difference it can make in your life. And so, Miss Marlene, share a little bit about that Grief Share group.
Thank you. I promise this will be very brief. So, Grief Share began at Christ Community in 2021. In 2022, we held 3 13-week sessions. There have been about 30 participants in 2022. And thanks to your generous gifts, Christ Community has donated at this point about 50 study guide workbooks for Grief Share to those who have come and expressed an interest and a need. Grief Share is a 3-legged stool. It consists of attending the weekly meetings, watching a video, and then doing the daily devotionals that are in your Grief Share guide, which also has some extra helps and information to help people along that hard journey. So we just began a new group on Wednesday nights. We're in the 3rd week. It's open for anyone to join at any time. And so if you know somebody, if they want to just come out, I encourage people to stay at least 3 weeks. And the door's always open. If you need any more information, you can contact me. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marlene. I was really so, I guess excited is the only word when she came and told me that she felt led to do that, because it's such a great need for folks that are going through that time of grief. Brother Jim, come on down. Tell us what's going on in your world. No such luck.
Thank you. I'm Brother Jim. I'm your worship leader. And, I got to thinking, how could I make this report real short? And it kind of goes like this. Last Sunday we did music. Today we did music. And until Jesus comes back, we'll keep doing music. And that's a whole lot of what I get to do. But, man, there's so much more to it than that. And this report always turns into these commercials. And so you may have heard this stuff before, but I'm going to mention this stuff to you again. Everybody that you see on that platform and all the folks that you don't see play a big, big part in what goes on in here in terms of, what we call our worship and our praise service. And I say that to you to say this. The majority of the time, it takes 4, maybe 5 people to do what goes on back there that you never see. And if you're one of these folks who has maybe gone home and watched it on TV and thought, man, I'd love for the camera to do this, or I wish the sound did this, or man, I wish the lighting did this, guess what? That means you are qualified to be a part of what goes on behind the scenes. And that's the truth, right? Because if you notice things like that, then you have those tendencies. And so I say that to say, anytime you want to be a part or to learn how to do something to help, whether it's up here to play or sing or do that kind of stuff, or to do some of the stuff behind the scenes, would love to have you to be a part. Because at the end of it, if you've been here a while, you've heard me say this as well. My gift is not singing or playing. My gift is helps. That's my gift, right? And what I do on Sunday morning translates that way. I just want to help you find a place where you can worship, help create a spirit that you can do that. But all of those technical things and those little nitpicking things, I call them, man, that's just stuff that I see. Somebody called the other night. Miss Sherilyn was sitting with me on the couch, and somebody called, and they were up here asking about mics and how to do this. And, of course, I'm talking them through it, and look behind the curtain, and on the table you'll see this, and got off the phone. She said, how do you do that? I said, that's a curse, because I shut my eyes and I can see everything in here. And so if you have some of that, man, we would love for you to be a part. And I say that to say I appreciate the cats in the booth, because half of them are youth, right? I think Watson is running lights for us a lot of the times. Laney's back there running lyrics. And so no pressure. I got youth who are doing a lot of stuff in the booth, and love them for doing that. And so what I do here branches out way beyond some of that kind of stuff. In creating the new classes and, of course, the new formats and stuff, there's so much of the communication part that goes into that. And you saw part of what happens in here a while ago. Who was it, Kim? I think was talking about their Facebook page, and it magically appeared. Well, there's somebody else in the booth who has the same curse that I have. You hear things, and you immediately start working that way. Miss Ashley is probably as good as I've been around in a long time at taking those things and making them happen. All the signs that you've seen for the new classes, all the graphics, all that stuff, it takes her about 10 seconds, and she kicks that stuff out immediately. And so she handles a lot of that stuff for us behind the scenes and putting all that stuff together. So thank you. I appreciate all that. What else? If you have watched some of the services from home, I'm hoping that the quality in the last couple of months has come up a little bit. We spent a little bit of money toward the end of last year. I wish Brother Steve was here. He's not here because he loves to make faces when I talk about spending money, because I do. But it's, in the tech world, everything that you buy costs big money, and that's just the nature of it. But we spent a few bucks toward the end of last year, thanks to the elders and those guys for that. They had the vision of us creating or signing on to another streaming platform. And so hopefully if you've had to be home and watch that stuff, and our folks who are watching it now, it has gotten a little more solid, a little more stable. We have upgraded that. And, of course, we're always upgrading the stuff that we have back there. Most of the time it's just replacing stuff, because a lot of it we've had for quite a long time. And so anyway, so I say all that to say, just kind of give you a snapshot of what goes on in my little world. Any questions that may take us to discussing something else? Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say a praise that the church is allowing the youth to be singing, helping,
Sure, yeah.
because that's going to make them want to continue on.
Well, and
I thank y'all for that.
yeah, and Brother Willis has mentioned it well. And we this coming May, I will enter into a new decade when I turn my next birthday. And so we're not going to be doing this forever, right? And so it thrills my soul. Ann's up here singing with us. You had Jacob up here playing this morning. And somebody contacted me this week about their child becoming part of it. And what I told them was two things, and this is a prayer request we'll get to in a second. One, if they want to become part of the praise team, man, the place to start is right over there in the youth room, right? Because Derek and Nathan and those folks are so faithful to be working with that group over there. And so the guys that you see come up here and join us on Sunday, I've been able to go over there and watch them and watch them come along in terms of their worship. And so I'm glad to be able to do that, because, again, at some point, it ain't going to be me. But in terms of prayer, because the person who contacted me has a child who's a little bit younger. We've got a lot of stuff going on for our kids and our youth, and man, it's fabulous. Be praying about someone who could maybe become part of, whether it's a Wednesday night thing, a small segment, or somewhere else during the week, like a children's choir, right? Or children's music group, children's whatever you call it, right? Because all of us who have been churched forever have seen those little groups, and, you know, they learn to play little simple instruments and sing songs. And that is not necessarily my niche, although, you know, God can do anything. But he, you know, if maybe that's something you've got some experience with or would like to be a part of, man, would love to entertain that. And so, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Great question. Great point. Somebody else. I know there's a lot of stuff I'm forgetting and stuff that I could talk about, but that's plenty long enough. So thank you, folks, for trusting me and us with what we do up here. Last thing, send me your songs, right? God's blessed you with a song, or you've heard a song that God has used to just minister to you. Text me. Send it to me. Because one of the things that I heard from the first breakout session we went to years ago at a conference was, for worship leaders, the minute the music stops on Sunday morning, next Sunday's coming. And so we are immediately, this evening, I'm sifting through songs and looking for God to give me something, right, for next Sunday. And so if he's laid something on your heart, you've heard something, man, text it to me. I get that stuff all the time. Some of them we can do. Some of them may not necessarily be, you know, corporate worship type songs, but hey, we'll take a shot at it. I love just to have new stuff to listen to. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, Brother Jim. I see that hand.
Thank you. Hey, I'm sorry I forgot to say this, but Green Share is intended to have a team of leaders rather than a single person. And so if you feel led to participate in that group, please do so. You don't require any training or special things. I have a high school education. I'm not a social worker. I'm not trained in any of those areas. But God can use you to help encourage and support someone else.
Thank you, Miss Marlene. All right, any other groups or ministries that would like to share a report before we move? Oh, yeah, I forgot that guy. Come on down, D. Blair. Mr. Darren Blevins is the chairman of our deacons, and the reason I forgot is because they weren't on the list last year, and I forgot my agenda at home, and so shooting from the hip, brother. Here you go. Preach for a while.
My name is Darren. I'm one of the deacons here. The deacon's purpose is to serve the church, and we serve wherever we're needed. But in an effort to not let stuff fall through the cracks, we have assigned each deacon to an area. James Martin and Brother Ken Easley are both over building the grounds. Kenny Glover, everybody knows he's over the greeters. Jeff Miller is over safety and first aid. Ben, which is better known as Lindy's husband, he's over the production. Derek Kimball is over worship. Joey Cawthorn is over kitchen, and you figure out why that is. But Scotty is our utility player, if you will. He's everywhere he's needed, and without complaint. And I've taken the lead over our new security team that we have started. And that's really all we got as far as deacons right now. Is there any questions about deacons? Good. All right. Our security team, we've got a core group now that are meeting every other week in an effort to make your experience a more safe one. We're in the process of making the policies and procedures to better protect the church, and we're going to start implementing some new stuff. We actually started last Sunday, and we asked you to bear with us a little bit, but there is going to be some changes where it concerns security for the toddlers and preschool. If you're not working behind that section, you're going to not be allowed to go back there. And I apologize to some of you parents and especially some of you grandparents that wants to go check on the little ones. but we're just not going to allow that to go back there. We've had some talking to some of the new Sunday school teachers that, you know, it's just an interruption, and now the kids are losing time on actually learning the nursery part. As soon as that door opens, they're crying. We've got people trying to go into the kitchen. We're just going to cut down on some of the traffic flow. And the reason we're doing that is not to punish anybody, but it's protect your kids. Brother Willis is going to get us some stickers made, and if you don't have a sticker on, you're not going to be allowed. And speaking of stickers, make sure you check your kids in and get the stickers, and whoever's coming to pick them up is going to be required to have the sticker to get your child. Now, if you're not fond of your kid, that doesn't mean you can leave them there. We'll find somebody to take them. But to protect your kid, that's what it's all about, is protect your kid. You will have to have the card to get them. And if it's new parents, we're actually signing them up at the check-in, and then we'll get them into the kiosk so they can do it later. Any questions on security or? Yeah, it is a parent. We want an adult to come and get them. I want to say that would be common knowledge, but that's not. We've got kids come for all kind of stuff, and part of our problem is also that we've got a bunch of kids that are coming in and out. We're going to look at trying to put a gate there so that it's a little more official looking instead of just a table. We're setting up a group right now trying to train, or going to try and train so that everybody's on the same page. We'll have security with a lady there to help check them in and check them out. We are learning as we go on that, so just be patient with us on that.
Any other questions about the security team? They're actively watching and providing security. They've distributed the responsibilities. They stay in the foyer. At least one of them is in the foyer all the times during service. It's unfortunate that we have to do that, but that's the world we live in. We can say it'll never happen here, but every place it's ever happened said it'll never happen here. And so we want to do what we can to avoid that. And so I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am. Well, yes, ma'am. Whoever checks them in, when you check a child in at the kiosk, they give the sticker for the child, and they get another receipt basically for that. And then if an adult has that receipt, they'll take the child. And if not, Darren's taking them home with him. So, but that's just the process. Any other questions? All right, Brother Kenny, come on down here. And while you're coming down here, Brother Kenny, Darren said, is the leader over our greeters ministry, and I'm just going to say, man, that's such an important ministry here in the church. A lot of you guys are involved in it. If people have a bad experience when they walk in the front door, they have a bad experience trying to drop their children off, if they don't feel like their children are safe, and if the bathroom's not clean before they get in here, they never hear a word the preacher says. And so thank you guys for your ministry. Tell us about how it works.
I ain't got nothing else to say. You said pretty much what I was going to say, kind of, sort of. But anyhow, I appreciate it. You know, I'm going to back up a little bit real quick. Back pre-COVID, you know, we started greeting. We've always had greeters or whatever, you know, started working on it and scheduling people and so on. It went pretty good. Got to COVID. That kind of shut everything down. You don't know what to do, a toe bump or a fist bump, or, you know, it got really awkward is a good word. And then we got past that, and then now, you know, we're greeters, and we got a schedule with that going, and we're still working progress on trying to greet everyone. That's kind of a goal. We want to greet every person, not just some. We want to get all of them. And as Willis said, it's an important part, but I think all parts are important. If you're doing your part or I'm doing my part, that is the most important part. God's part for you is, you know, the most important part. So, you know, I appreciate everything that everybody does. And then the greeters, I mean, I appreciate everybody just coming in, and I don't mean it, running out and getting wet, getting your feet wet. That's just pretty cool, It's, feet get wet, it's kind of nasty, but it's pretty cool, to be able to do that, and so on. So I'm not going to go all day, but I want to mention something. I met somebody, and Brother Willis asked me to come up here, so forgive me for the time frame. That's his fault. So I met up with a person in there this morning, and then I told him, I said, I know you. And then he said, yeah, I know you too. And when he told me who he was, I still didn't remember, but when he told me where he remembered it from, I'm like, oh, I remember you now. Back in the day, you know what I'm talking about? Probably most everybody had a day, back in the day. And then so, as he was giving me the deer in the headlight looks a little bit, and, we talked back and forth a little bit, and I was surprised to see him in church, and this was a long time ago, and I bet he was way more surprised to see me in church. And I'm going to say it because after the service, I did talk to him. He was really surprised to see me in church, and I was really surprised to see him in the church, and that's the truth. And then, but also, he was, we give him a cup and all, and first thing he said was, I go to another church. He's actually security at another church, and, and that was just good. I said, that don't matter. Here, we got this for you. Send this gift card in. It ain't about, send, fill us out, and you'll get a gift card or whatever. It's not about where you go to church or not. So, the greeting to me is not about this building. It's partial about this building. You want people to come to your church, man. I really want people to come to our church, but I really want them to go where God has them to go. So the greeting part, I think, is very important for the one person that comes from Minnesota, and it's the only time they're going to be here. You don't know what they're going to bring back to Minnesota, whether they're going to bring back a good experience or a bad experience, or did they learn something, I don't know, or hear a word that God really give to them. And so one part I do say that, we really struggling in, at least I think we're really struggling in, especially from this morning. We found that out how unorganized we wasn't on a little bit of what Darren was talking about there about having someone to help get the kids to the right place. And it was really tough this morning on us. And I think, we need to really work harder at that. We're going to work harder at that. Anybody willing to help that situation? Appreciate it. Call me, call Mary. Call Sam Stevens. Look right there. She's waving. Call Brother Wilts or Shannon. Let somebody know. Let somebody know because we could really use the help in that area. Maybe don't call Shannon. She may put you doing whatever. Just picking. Call Shannon. She's great. Just picking on that. But anyhow, we really could use some help in that area. So I do appreciate everything that everybody does and so on. Got anything there, dear? And I missed something. Any questions besides Kate McKee? Go ahead, Kate.
What's the welcome center?
Say again?
What do y'all do with the welcome center?
Look, I'll let her do this one. There you go. She's a lot better at that than me.
So at the Welcome Center, we introduce ourselves and we give out cups. We explain where everything is at in the church. If they need anything, we want them to know how welcome they are. We want them to know that our sanctuary is our living room. If you want to eat or drink, we're not going to kick you out. Am I missing anything? We just want them to feel loved and welcomed. The best thing that we hear as greeters, and I'm sure Willis and them here, is that, wow, I felt like I was at home when I came to church today. And that's what we want everyone to feel, whether you're new coming or you've been coming for years. We never want you to not feel like this is home for you. That's it.
And I'll say this real quick. This has been on my mind ever since I met up with the guy this morning. And I'm going to mess it up, because I don't just go quoting scripture, but I know Melissa can quote it for me if I mess it up. Galatians 6:9 and 10, but, it says we should not grow weary in doing good, because at the right time you will reap a harvest. And Brother Willis knows it. You will reap a harvest. And 10 says something like this: as we have opportunity, share with or do good to everyone, especially the family of believers. So it's just not non-believers or just not believers. It's everybody, but the Bible says especially. So let's not pass one another up, You know, and that's why also I think it's important to greet everyone. And I've heard Brother Jim say it about 1,000 times. You don't ever know what's going on with the person right next to you. You don't know what's going on in their mind. So, you know, a nice hello or something is just great for everyone. So I appreciate it. Anything else? Any more questions? Thank y'all.
All right, Brother Kenny. Any other ministries? Anybody else that I asked to be here today to give a report? Or anybody else that would like to give a report? If you would like to. And I noticed at Celebrate Recovery on Friday night that we had a lady signing.
I'm excited about that. So one of the things about the sign language ministry is it's just me and Barbara, but you know we keep being faithful because we both know that God gave us this gift, and He has a plan. We may not fully know what it is yet, but that's kind of scary and exciting all at the same time. I have been working with Brother Jim and them, you know, about the Facebook part of it, and because we had a lady that was watching a couple times that wasn't there, and we were like, oh no, but working on that. So that's another part that we're working on, so we can get that good with the tech part of it. And hopefully this year I get an opportunity to go to Brentwood Baptist Church, which is where like they started like the deaf ministry. And I heard they have like a real cool sanctuary with speakers under each chair. And so I'm kind of excited about that. So hopefully I'll get to do that later this year in like October, I think, or something. So anyway, but that's it.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Let's see. Brother John, come up here. I need you to, we have to do some business. There's some business that we have to take care of. And Brother John is the chairman of the elders, and I'm the moderator of the meeting. And so Brother John's going to present this change to our church constitution, or an amendment to our church constitution. And so you have a copy of it in your book. Brother John, tell us what's on your mind.
Just over the course of meeting together and doing what we do, we become aware that a little portion was left out of our Constitution and bylaws, and we just want to kind of square that up and make it right. I'd like to make the recommendation that the deacons shall elect the chairman, a chairman of the deacons. The chairman of the deacons will serve a 2-year term with a 4-year term limit. That's the way it is with elders in the Constitution and bylaws already, and we wanted to just kind of line it up so it's seamless and works smoother.
Right, yeah. So the idea behind that was that, again, we left that part out of the Constitution, and so what that meant is when Brother Darren became the chairman of the deacons, that was an appointment that he wasn't going to be able to get rid of for life, it looked like, and so he wants to rotate off after a few years and let somebody else be blessed with that responsibility, and so we wanted to make sure that we had all our ducks in a row on that. So do you have any questions about that? Any questions or comments? All right. Well, Brother John has presented this motion that we would accept this amendment to or make this amendment to our church constitution. Do I hear a second? All right. Brother David Branton would second that. All in favor would signify by saying aye. And any opposed? All right. Thought she was over there. She was ready to. All right, so that motion carries. Thank you, Brother John. And Brother John, while you're up here, why don't you go ahead and present our 2023 church budget. If you turn the page there, you'll see our church budget. Brother Steve is, unfortunately, it's unfortunate for us. It's not at all unfortunate for him. Brother Steve and Miss Vanessa are on a cruise in New Zealand and Australia. And so, yeah, they're breaking my heart. They're seeing all the Lord of the Rings stuff right now. And so he's our church treasurer. And so he's prepared the budget for us along with the elders. And so you see it there. Take a couple minutes to look over that, and then we'll come back in. see what we need to do with it. If you have any questions, Brother Cade will be more than happy to answer those for you.
I'll just like to publicly thank Steve for the work he does. I'm personally allergic to numbers, but Steve has a background, a career in banking, so it's a little easier for him to do this position, and I appreciate it.
And I'll say that me and Brother Jim do our part to make sure that he never works himself out of a job. So we're spending money and chasing receipts and all those kind of things. All right, do you have any questions? Yes, Miss Stephanie. Yeah. That is a long and complicated story, but I'm more than willing to tell it right now. So right now, we currently, so our lawn care initially was done by a church member that gave us a very cheap price. And so he did it for several years for the same price. Then he sold his business. And they kept it at the same price or around the same price. But we really needed a little more from our lawn care provider. And so when we started looking out there for the current rate, we got several bids, and some are higher, some are right in that area. Honestly, we knew we didn't want to go with the cheapest because we're already not satisfied with that. And so that's why we've set that amount in our budget. Not yet decided on who's going to do it. We're still going through the process. But that 25 is just kind of like a placeholder. Yes.
If anybody is willing to join our greeter team, we want you. Call us.
I'm so thankful that wasn't a question about the budget. Any other questions there? All right. Brother John, I would just mention one thing that's a new addition to our church budget is under our missions budget. As we partner with Louisiana Reach Haiti, I believe is the name of the ministry. Basically, it's a ministry started by some Louisiana Baptists that initially provided funds and took mission teams and things into Haiti. Now it's so dangerous there. Now they've set up with Haitian nationals. They've set up basically a home for economic orphans. They have a social worker, they have teachers, and when I say social worker and teachers, that's not the same kind of money we're talking about that it costs here, but they provide for the care for the children, and the hope, the goal is that they would reunite them with their families as their economic situation gets better. And so we partnered with them this year, and we're going to begin supporting that ministry there. All right, well, if there are no other questions, Brother John has made the motion that we accept our report, our budget for this year, or make a motion that we present this budget for this year. Do I hear a second? Brother David said, I do. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Man, I love it when a plan comes together. So the motion carries. We have adopted that budget. Now, let me say this, because I always say this. When you vote yes for the budget, you accept responsibility for fulfilling that, all right? And so as a church family, that's something that all of us need to keep in mind. Let me see, anything else on our list of things to do today, or do you have any questions before one more thing we need to do. I'm sorry. We need to elect messengers elect messengers from our church to the Eastern Louisiana Baptist Association, Louisiana Baptist Convention, and the Southern Baptist Convention. And unless somebody else would like to participate in that, we typically nominate our elders, our staff, and their wives as messengers. Would somebody... So let's nominate okay, Thomas and Amy. All right, so let's nominate. The Southern Baptist Convention is in New Orleans this year, and so some of you may go. And so, do I hear a motion that we elect those folks? I appreciate that, David. Thank you. Is there a second? And Brother Jim seconds that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Was it Darren that seconded that motion?
Brother Jim. And you got the addition of Thomas and Amy Tyndall. Okay, all right. All right, so that motion carries. Any other questions, concerns? Anybody that would like? Yes.
I'm not trying to be a pest, but we did talk about, I know we're not ready to build a new building back there, but I'd like to ask the church for us to pray if God will give us more T buildings or more tents or something, because I believe that God's going to grow us real big, and I'm just concerned that we're going to grow too big too fast, and sometimes people get kind of squishy and they don't like it. So can, just as a member, I'm just saying.
Miss Kathy, I appreciate that, and I think we all agree. And as luck would have it, I'm about to talk a little bit about that right now. And now, Miss Kathy is speaking from experience, because she meets in a corner of a room with a bunch of children that are overgrowing her corner of the room. Okay, and so yeah, I thank you for that, and I'm going to address that now. Yes, ma'am.
The biggest, and this is important, guys, she had 30 people in a Wednesday night class with young mothers and older ladies. That is God answering our prayers.
You know, we've been, excuse me, we've been talking a lot this year about reaching the next generation. And if you reach the next generation, you have to have a place to put them. This year, on June 8th of 2023, I'll mark 15 years, if I do the math right, 15 years as pastor of Christ Community Church. And when I first came to pastor Christ Community Church, we were meeting in the junior high cafeteria, and we knew God had a place for us, and it was Juban Road, and we started praying right then about a building. And I remember our very first building committee meeting we had. Don't remember who all was there. I know me and Steve and Miss Mary Ingalls. I don't recall everyone was there, but one of the things that we decided then is that we wanted to have a place here that was not just a church place. You know, how many of you realize that church real estate is some of the least used on the market? Churches build $1 million buildings, multi-million-dollar buildings to use for an hour a week. And so we right then decided that we wanted to build a place that would be used. And I'm looking for my phone right here because I have notes on it because I left. Well, I'll eventually find it. But we wanted this place to be used. We wanted it to be used not just by Christ Community Church. We wanted it to be used by our community. And so we're at a point now where on Monday we have homeschool. Brother Jim's got it.
Yeah, there's a Classical Conversations homeschool that meets here every Monday, and they have about 50 folks on the campus total. 35 are or 40 students and the adults. On Tuesday, we've got a gumbo homeschool, is the name of that homeschool, and there's about 160 of those folks here. They're using every building we've got. And then on Wednesday morning, we have BNI. It's a group of business leaders that take this center section out. They set up tables, and they have a business meeting. They do a weekly business meeting in here, just kind of get together. And there's about 40 of the business leaders from Livingston Parish that come in here and use this place on Wednesday morning. And so it gets used those first 3 days for sure.
Thursday nights, we have scouts in here that meet on Thursday nights. And so God has really blessed us, allowed us to serve the community by doing that. But in 2013, as we began to plan this building, excited about being able to move here and getting nudged by God and the state of Louisiana out of the old Eden Church facility. One of the things we kept hearing was you need to build for 3 times as big as you are now. We're around 200 there, and something like that. And I said, okay, we don't have the money to build 3 times. We don't. As a matter of fact, we don't have any money. Okay, but we had maybe $100,000 or something like that, maybe a little more. But we knew we needed to build something rather large, and so we said, okay, we're going to build as much worship space as we can build, and then we'll build education space. So we built as much worship space as we could build, and man, when things started happening, when we moved here in August of 2014, the church really began to grow. We quickly outgrew this place. We had started 2 services, and things were moving right along, and we were growing, and we began to try to add some classrooms and things like that eventually, but never did it really effectively. Our goal at first was home groups, and we never could make those work effectively. How many of you have a home group meeting in your home right now? Yeah, we just couldn't make that happen, and so we kind of tried to add a few things. We added the youth room. We added some T buildings. And then came COVID. And how many of you noticed that, and this is a conviction that I have right now. How many of you noticed that after COVID, our attendance declined dramatically? We've baptized hundreds of people here at Christ Community Church. We baptized 50 last year, about that number the year before, close to 100 the years before that. Hundreds of people we've baptized. And when you baptize a new believer, there's a need to disciple them. And we've struggled to disciple new believers. I'm so excited for the class that Amy and Thomas and Deanne and Mr. Danny are doing to disciple new believers. And I can't help but believe that our struggle to disciple those new believers kind of allowed them to slip through the cracks in many ways during COVID. And so it's been my conviction this year that we really needed to double down on our small groups, our discipleship, on growing disciples. Man, I loved last weekend we did the personal discipleship models. It was so helpful for us to just see our own, each of our opportunities and how we can disciple people, that it doesn't have to be an organized program, that we can do that. But I believe that that's pushing us to the next place where we're going to need to start. Right now on Sunday morning, every room is filled, right? Some more than others. We got a large group meeting in here. We've got two groups meeting in our children's room. All the rest of the rooms on campus are, including the unfinished library, has a group meeting in it. And so there's a need there for us to do something. Somebody say, well, why don't we just build a building? Well, if you notice on page 3 of our budget, our current building debt is, maybe it's the last page. Current building debt, $809,000. Now, that we've paid a lot of money against that. You know, we started off with 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million. We've paid a lot of money against that, but we really, we need to, as a church, we need to start praying about how we can reduce that in order to let us take this next step that we need to take. And so I would, Miss Kathy, you said, can the church pray about it? Well, that's our challenge, that we would begin to pray about how we can make that next step in order to do something. What that next building looks like, I have no idea. But when every room has someone in it, then your building is full. And so, any questions about any of that? Yes, Darren. They give some offering and things like that. We don't charge rent per se. They make some donations to the church, basically. We never charge people to use our church. Any other questions? Oh, I see that hand. Oh, wait. I see that hand pointing that way. Oh. Okay. All right. Brother Jim, did you get that? No, sir. She just said that we had not been mentioning the prayer requests for the cards, and the apps, and so. Any other questions? So, what did we do last year? What did we do as a church last year? Again, we baptized 48 people. We did a lot of ministry. Thankfully, we didn't have any. I don't think we had any disaster relief response. So that was good. We did some ministries that we've been doing for years. My goal for the future is that we would grow in our commitment to discipling new believers. And so that's what I'm casting. Any other business we need to take care of today? Question? Do we have a plan for tornadoes? We've got a 130 mile an hour wind rating on the building. But I hope I'm not here when it comes through. I don't know that we have a plan, Miss Marilyn. I'll turn that over to our safety and security team. Yeah, Brother Darren. There you go. They're working on a plan to evacuate. Awesome. See, our security team's at work. I went with some of the guys to a security conference a few months ago. Back in the early part of the winter. And what I learned is the pastor is usually the target. And so I thought, we need to work on this security team thing. So yes.
That just reminded me that Jubilant Park Junior High, is their evacuation route and location is the street.
Yeah, Jubilant Park Junior High. If anything happened at the school, they would evacuate to here for their pickup area. And that's just another of my goals, is that we connect with those two schools in our community this year. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. One of my things that I would love to see us do as far as reaching the next generations, I'd like to see us do an after-school kids club at Jubilant Park Elementary. And so you guys be praying about that. And as you pray about that, pray about how God would help you to help me make that happen. All right? Only one thing left to do. Brother David made a motion.